Welcome everyone. We're so excited to see all of our 10th and 11th graders. This presentation is more geared towards our current juniors. This is information that's going to help all of you for next year for 12th grade. So some of the information for my 10th graders may be you're a little lost. It doesn't apply to you necessarily, but it's still good to hear the information. The information may change, 10th graders, okay? Because teacher preferences may change, right? So just kind of keep that in mind, that this presentation you'll get again next year, okay? So starting off first is we want to review with you best practices, right? So for our juniors, something we want you to know is that when you're asking our teachers for letters of recommendations, we want to review best practices for all of you. So starting off with checking the teacher preference flyer that we created. That will be shared with all of you at the end. It will also be emailed to all of you, but we have surveyed all our teachers and have asked them their preference of when they want to be asked and how they want to be asked. Number one thing you should be doing is checking that, okay? If a teacher wants to be asked in person, don't ask them via email, because then it just let them know that you could not follow directions. So that's something you want to definitely look at, because each teacher has their own style. Each teacher also, you'll hear from our panel, they have different requirements that they ask of you. Some of them will interview you. Some of them will want a resume. Some of them will want a brag sheet. Those are details that's really important for you to know so that you're completing their steps in order for them to write you a letter of rec, okay? Second thing is following up communication. What we mean by that is that if a teacher likes to be asked via email, that's the way you would follow up with them. If a teacher wants to be asked in person, that's how you follow up with them. So it's just making sure that you're communicating the way that the teacher's preferred method. Next is making a name selection. You want to show Naviance? So for my juniors, when you have secured your 2 teachers, because you are only going to ask 2 San Marino teachers, no more than that, okay? You are going to make the name selection for them on Naviance. Mrs. Flores is going to show all of you how to do that. This is an important step because your teachers look at Naviance to see when your deadlines are and how many letters you need. Not only teachers need that information, your counselor needs that information, because majority of your schools will require a counselor recommendation. And so we want to make sure that all your information on Naviance is up to date. If your deadlines change, what does that mean? Our deadlines change. So this is why you have to update Naviance frequently when it's changing, so that our documents are submitted on time. So Ms. Flores, you want to walk through that?
So just to let you guys know, on your Naviance portal, so this is what it looks like as a student, how you request teachers, you have to go under colleges, and then you go under apply to college letters of recommendation. Once you click on that, it'll load. It'll take a while to load. You're gonna add in your teachers and your requests. So when I hit add requests, what is it telling me right here? It says, looks like you don't have any colleges in your I'm applying to list yet. You actually have to put in your college list before you request teachers, right? We don't know where you're sending the teachers to, send letters of rec to. So you have to make sure that you input your list of colleges that you're applying to. Every single one needs to be on Naviance, okay? That means UCs, CSUs, out-of-state, in-state, private, independent, all of them need to be listed, okay? And then once you have this list, it'll give you a list, and then it actually will go through each of the lists of the teachers available on here, and then you'll click them, you'll click the schools that you want them to send it to, and then at the very end, you can put a little message saying, thank you so much for writing me a letter of recommendation. You are awesome, you're great, and then you hit submit, okay? And then that's how they receive the electronic. If you do not do this, they don't have any idea that you're requesting them at all, okay? So please follow up with this and be mindful too, if you have set a list of schools and then all of a sudden later you're like, actually, I'm gonna apply to this school now. You need to go back in here, add the school, and request the teacher again, okay? So it's a lot of back and forth, a lot of updating it when it comes to Naviance, but we have tons of questions that happen. So please, if you get stuck somewhere and you're like, wait, I forgot what she said last year in March, of course, we're going to walk through this again with you guys again. But please go to your counselor and just ask those questions, okay?
So after the name selection, the last step you do is sending your teachers a thank you email or a thank you card. They want to know where you end up getting admitted to, where you end up deciding to go to school. We also like to know that too. So definitely acknowledge your teachers because they're really personalizing your letter of rec. They take a lot of time, and so you want to just acknowledge and recognize that, okay?
Going to go through a couple of these helpful suggestions first, and then we'll get to our panel. A couple suggestions that we say is ask your teachers that you know and that you have a relationship with, okay? That is where the best letters can come from, okay? If you don't know a certain teacher, you only had them for a month, we only have a month to go off of. So we want to write you the best letter that we can. So please be mindful of who you are asking when it comes to this. The best recommendations tell a story about the student's personality and character. If I know you and we've chatted it up for the past couple years, I'm writing great things about you because I know everything you do from academics to outside to maybe even personal life and stuff. So please interact with us beyond just the classroom, beyond the grades, beyond the tests or the feedbacks and everything. We want to get to know you, and that's how this portrays very well in a letter of recommendation. What do I do when I have new schools added to my list and I've already asked my teachers for letters? So that's something that I added before, right? I have to go back into Naviance and make sure that I send those out, okay? So it doesn't automatically send a request to the teachers when you have new schools to add. It's a little different for counselors. We have different access to that, but you have to go back in and request them again, okay? Do letters have to be from core teachers? Not necessarily, okay? Of course, you're going to have some from maybe some core areas. Maybe you're going to a STEM field. Maybe you're going purely science. Maybe you're going into the math. Maybe you're going to humanities. All of these, every teacher and every subject teacher has a great place in a letter of recommendation. It does not have to be math and science, English and math, English and science. It's not just that. If you have a great relationship with your VAPA or your social science or any other subject, this is a great person too to add to that. Of course, you would want one from at least a core, but the other can be, who has the best relationship with you, Who should I pick? A teacher who knows me best or who doesn't know me well, but it's in my area of interest? Who knows me best? That's going to speak a lot more than just who knows me in my area of interest. They might know that you want to be a STEM major, a science major, or math or whatever, but if they don't know you, they still don't know you besides, some scores in a grade report, okay? So they're going to get into all of that information in some of these questions. So I definitely want to, make sure that we kind of get to this part. So let's go to some of the questions. So first, I want to give a good round of applause to our panel of teachers here. Ms. Dwan, Ms. Park, Ms. Scheidel, Mr. Quiggle, and Ms. Murphy. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're just going to pass along the mic back and forth so you guys can pick them up. However you want to answer that, we're just going to kind of open that up for you. So the first question, are reminders from students needed? How do you prefer to communicate with students during this process? So I'll just bring it over here.
Hi, I'm Miss Dwan. I think my answer is going to be different from everybody. I find it pretty offensive when people give me reminders, honestly. You should trust me to get your letter of rec in. Otherwise, why are you asking me? So if you remind me, I'll be upset.
I unfortunately have mommy brain. So I do appreciate if you come about a week before and you still don't see it in there. I think it's perfectly safe for you to say, hey, Miss Park, my deadline's coming up. Just wanted to, check in, make sure everything's on track. I think I do appreciate and I don't mind that. What I do mind is if you keep emailing me every day up to the day of, and then I'm just like, I got it. Don't worry about it, So just a check-in is great. Don't harp on your teachers, though.
Yeah. I'm okay with reminders, too. This is working. In that, I think it reduces stress for you, and I know it's a tough process. So I prefer to be asked by email. I don't know if we're on that question yet, but it does, and if you can title it Letter of Rec, it's really easy for me to find that email. And I will email you and ask questions like, what was your research paper topic? etc. And so a little bit of correspondence helps me to write the best letter I can for you.